First place to me would mean a lot.
It would feel really good to be first in the spring split. It's my first split.
Being number one in the regular season is already securing us a spot in LCS for the next one. But for now, it seems to be playoffs are going to determine whether you're remembered as number one of a split or not.
Winning the split would be really huge for us because that means we get to represent EU in the All-Stars. And also if we win the split, it's the third time we have won it, and that would make us like the best EU team for the last like 1.5 years, and it's really big deal for us to get to represent EU as the best.
Going to All-Stars is a big step up for everyone in the team to show their skill in an international level, and it feels like we're so close to doing it, so I don't see a reason why we should stop here.
If and when we do win, we are gonna go party hard, go crazy, and after that we are gonna practice hard for All-Stars.
I would probably text my family. It always is heartwarming to talk to the family because I don't meet them that much and I'm still only 17. So being away from the family is kind of tough at the same time.
Well, if we're gonna win, I think we all deserve a well-needed vacation. Not together, but everyone for himself. Get a little rest.
So yeah, I'm just gonna have a break and be ready for All-Stars, obviously.
I really love winning for our fans because they have stuck with us through the rough period, like when we were 0-8. Nobody was gonna think that we are gonna win the split, but if we do it now, we have shown everyone wrong.
It feels really good when you are reading all those comments, Fnatic sucks or stuff like this, or this team is not the best, and then you win it again. That's the best feeling, you know, because all that people don't say anything anymore.
At the start, we were kind of one of the lower bracket teams, and now we've raised and become a stronger team in the end. So I feel like doing that might establish us more as a bigger name in Europe.
I think this season overall has made us a stronger team. We had a good period, and then a bad period, and then once again a good period. We have been in this losing time, and we have learned how to get out of it, pretty much. And it has strengthened us as a team.
Going to the match being first or second means we will be trying to establish ourselves as the first one in this season and give us the title that we deserve.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The entire spring split comes down to this series between SK Gaming and Fnatic. Whoever takes the best of 5 will be crowned the champion and will go on to represent Europe at the All-Stars Invitational in Paris, which will be kicking off on May 8th.
This is probably the most important El Clasico match that we've ever seen, as Fnatic, who won both Spring and Summer Split last year, tried to take yet another first place finish. However, their season so far against SK has resulted in a 3-1 head-to-head record in SK's favor. And actually, they've not beaten SK since week 1 of the split during that 8-game winning streak.
And SK Gaming have managed to control Fnatic and their rotations in the past games. As we talked about yesterday, SK Gaming is the team in Europe with the best movements around the map and quick decisions, which they've been using against Fnatic to shut down sOAZ in all the past matches. sOAZ, he's the only player who didn't get a single kill versus SK Gaming all season long. And Fnatic, however, they actually look very sharp in the rotations and the team fights with their new picks. And also, of course, the new picks were hard to deal with for Alliance. So SK Gaming could have the same issues as Alliance unless they make sure to ban the correct champions, for instance, Soraka.
Yeah.
Or have a direct counter ready for it.
Let's get a little bit more in depth, though, into this, because yesterday Fnatic picked up a 2-1 victory against Alliance to secure the spot in today's final.
Yeah, game 1, Fnatic ran the shield and heal comp with Kayle, Soraka, and Jenna. Combine that with Kha'Zix and his 50% damage reduction. It meant you had an unkillable Kha'Zix jumping into the enemy, and then you had Rekkles on Lucian dealing damage from the back. Every single team fight was about poking Alliance and then backing so Fnatic could heal up and out-sustain them. Game 3 was a more classic poke comp with Nidalee and Lulu top to just siege the turrets and kite. They picked Nocturne jungle, which was really smart because they could then engage the fights with Nocturne's ultimate and therefore remove the option of Wicked teleporting in to join the fight. And the comp worked out perfectly for Fnatic. Once they started to siege, Alliance didn't have a single respond.
And we have to talk, I think, about Fnatic's bottom lane. They were constantly winning the lane, and honestly, Rekkles showed some absolutely amazing solo plays.
Yeah, Rekkles and YellOwStaR really showed up here in the playoffs. The laning phase has been strong, and the game 3 performance by YellOwStaR and Morgana was perfect. Landing bindings in the lane and setting up kills for Rekkles meant Fnatic got a great start to the game. Rekkles himself, he just keeps playing consistently well in every single game. with a KD of 11.5 against Alliance and only dying twice in 3 games, he really has become the superstar of Fnatic, and an AD carry you can always count on to perform.
And as he mentioned himself, he's only 17.
Yep.
There is more to come from this guy. So let's talk about their opponents here, because SK Gaming, they ended up first in the spring split, and despite being destroyed in game 1 against Roccat, who we've just seen annihilate an Alliance yesterday, they also showed some great character to come back and win those next 2 games.
The SK Gaming, they adapted after game 1, and they found the key to beating Roccat, or at least we thought the key to beat Roccat, by banning out Jax and Thresh, which, you know, it made Roccat look kind of weird, because they didn't know what to do after game 1. The strong lane swaps and teamfight comp as well from SK Gaming meant Roccat never had an answer once they actually fell behind.
Once again, SK looked great in the rotations and map control in the 2 games that they picked up for that victory.
Yeah, so after a shaky period in the mid game of game 2, SK Gaming took control of the map and then just showed great rotations to finish the match out. And they went into the 3rd game with the same plan, and this time they never gave Roccat a chance to come back after SK took 3 turrets in the lane swap. And we did see big issues for SK Gaming in game 1, as Svenskeren, he was shut down from the start by Rocket's late invade on the red buff. Jankers then, he managed to just follow Svenskeren around all game, and every time SK Gaming tried to do something, then Jankers would punish them. And without Svenskeren, the entire SK early game fell apart, and shutting him down could be one of the keys to victory for Fnatic here.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be big players, despite the pressure of the number 1 and 2 teams in the European LCS facing each other in the championship game. These pros still have a lot of respect for one another. Both will look to come out strong and prove that they are the best team in Europe.
It's basically number 1 versus number 2 in Europe right now.
I think SK will be really motivated to win, because people are saying like, oh, SK is not even good, they are just good with team play or something.
There is not one superstar of the team, like one guy who's shining over the other ones.
The game against Fnatic is going to be quite tense for me, since they're my old team, so I really want to win it.
I hope it will go 5 games, and then the better team's gonna take it.
Fnatic are like really tough opponents at this point. I feel like they're in shape and they do everything to win this, but we will do our best to give them a hard challenge.
They always go for the right team objective and they make very little mistakes, but I think by just solidly outperforming them, you can beat them.
I think it's gonna be a really good series. I'm actually really excited for it.
Basically, we're just 1 game away from showing that SK is the real deal and the top team in Europe.
Big words from nRated, and he has got a lot to prove, because this is his former team he's up against, and he, if anyone, is going to want a big victory here.
Oh, we've heard it from him in the last couple of videos that he's mentioned this "I used to play with them" kind of thing, and that puts a lot of pressure on him, I think, as a person as well. Of course, you want to beat the team that removed you from their roster. There's no doubt about that one. And he's also growing a little playoff goatee beard, which is so far doing well for him.
And not quite as good as yours, though, Joe. Let's face it. So let's check out those starting lineups. Over on the blue side, it is SK Gaming. That means Freddy's in the top lane, Svenskeren in the jungle, Jesiz in the mid lane, CandyPanda as AD carry, and nRated on support.
And on the red side, it's Fnatic with sOAZ in the top lane, Cyanide in the jungle, xPeke in the mid lane, Rekkles the AD carry, and YellOwStaR the support.
And the battle in the bottom lane, here is our featured matchup of the day. CandyPanda versus Rekkles. CandyPanda had another strong showing with nRated, but can they match up to Rekkles and YellOwStaR?
Well, both players have been among the best AD carries in Europe this season, and they deserve all the praise they're getting. We have Rekkles with a KD of 11.5 against Alliance, and with an average CS of 81, that would have been pretty bad, 81 at 10 minutes. CandyPanda's numbers, they aren't as impressive, which is due to a poor game 1 by SK Gaming, and then, of course, lane swaps in both game 2 and game 3.
Well, both AD carries have shown that they can hard carry games, and we see their teams cater their tactics to play around these 2 AD carries.
Yeah, Fnatic often leaves Rekkles to just solo farm a lane, while YellOwStaR starts roaming around. Svenskeren as well, he puts a lot of focus on ganking the dual lane early to help CandyPanda get a good start. And it's a very strong tactic, as CandyPanda, he likes to play Twitch, he likes to play Payne, and where he can then split push if he gets ahead, because he'll become so strong. And coming into this game, I want to see both teams put a lot of focus on trying to shut down the other AD carry, simply to get the advantage.
Well, we are about to get the first game underway. Picks and bans. what do we expect from these two teams? Because they've had some pretty wild tactics. Both actually can adapt and overcome quite easily. They're both proven it, because obviously Fnatic, they went 1-1, managed to come out. They did always have the lead in that game, though. SK Gaming, they had to adapt hard against Roccat.
So the only ban I feel like is 100% should be Evelynn ban. Possibly from Fnatic. Svenskeren loves to play it, and they've actually banned out quite a lot also against Alliance here, so I would expect an Evelynn ban. Maybe Nidalee is going to be a ban too for one of the teams.
Well, we see that the bans already coming out from this one. Lulu, Leona, the first two bans here for SK Gaming. On the other side, Evelynn banned away. Don't want that invisible Eve running around and causing all kinds of problems for Fnatic. What are they going to go for next? If I look at Fnatic's last bans against SK, Nidalee, Lulu and Kha'Zix were the bans there. So already changing things up ever so slightly this time around. Ziggs, in fact, will be their second ban.
So actually hitting also towards Jesiz in the mid lane here. Nidalee, of course, is the main pick for him. They could bait him into first pick it like we saw Roccat do yesterday, and then get two very strong picks for Fnatic and have some counter ready for the Nidalee here in the mid lane. Another thing actually to notice is Svenskeren on Kha'Zix been very, let's say, not too good earlier in the season. So I'm not sure if SK Gaming will actually first pick it if Fnatic leaves it open.
It has been left open. Lucian and Nidalee were the final two bans, so SK Gaming with the first pick. Let's see which they'll go. See Freddy on your screen. Discussions from him. It will seemingly be CandyPanda that's having a big discussion on this one. So I wonder if they're going to go for that AD carry to start. Or, well, like you said, whether they're going to first pick that Kha'Zix. It was such a big target for every team yesterday.
Every single team except for SK Gaming.
Yeah.
They played it 2 times, I believe, during the season, and they lost both games. It didn't work for them. They said themselves, we need to fall back on our old picks, the things that work for us.
Oh, wow.
It seems, actually, they're not even going to first pick it, so Fnatic can then pick it up for Cyanide, and they're going to be very happy about this.
That's an interesting choice here. Orianna as the first pick for SK Gaming. Now, we did, of course, see, or we have seen Orianna played quite a few times this season by Jesiz. Also a very neutral pick, I'm going to say, for a first mid lane pick.
Yeah, you don't show too much, and he's very strong in the laning phase, so should be able to deal with no matter what champion xPeke will pick for the mid lane over here for Fnatic. And it's also showing maybe their, I wouldn't say lack of champions from Jesiz here, but the fact that 2 champions are banned away towards him and they actually first pick his mid laner. Normally you always see teams waiting with the likes of Orianna till late to see what else there's on the map.
I'm wondering whether that was a simple case of SK panicking and just like, guys, I'm pretty limited here. Let's get my champion locked in. Cyanide is going to get his champion locked in. And let's talk about it, because this comp that they ran yesterday is available. Soraka is not banned out. We have got, of course, Nidalee taken away, but that's going to be Karma locked in. This could be the start of a shield comp.
And Karma has actually been one of the most popular picks here, especially for support, because again, very strong early game, and also because of the fact AD carries very rarely now run with lifesteal runes, so the early poke is a lot stronger than it used to be, where Karma of course really shines. And then the utility, the mobility she brings to the team is so strong. And you combine that again, combine shields with damage reduction, like 50% damage reduction. If you get a shield on top of that, it's going to be even harder to break through. You're going to need even more damage. That's where Kha'Zix becomes so annoying to deal with as well.
And big play feature today as well with that Kha'Zix that jumped into 5 men.
Yeah.
And it took them absolutely forever to do anything against him. Let's see what SK go for here. Jinx, obviously with the Lucian banned away here, Jinx is actually the 3rd most played AD carry between Rekkles and CandyPanda, and it looks like CandyPanda is going to take the Jinx, and they're going to have Sona coming in as well. Now, let's not forget that SK did run Sona in 2 games against Roccat.
And it's a very smart pick against Karma, because you can actually poke back against her. The only risk is the fact that Karma, it's very easy for her to get a snare onto Sona and start a gank, but at the same time, level 6 from Sona, she can do the same. If you move too close, here's my ultimate in your face, you're dead now. So Sona will be able to out-sustain the Karma, which is where it's very strong. And I like this Jinx here, it's becoming very popular again here in 4.5, because the junglers, it's no longer the Vi or the Pantheon who's going to jump in your face. If you have no mobility, you can't do anything. It's more the likes of Kha'Zix. Yes, he can do a lot of damage, but he needs to still come in here in your face, and you can actually spot him coming around. You know when he's going to jump you, and he won't lock you up, he won't CC you instantly, so the rest of the team can pile onto you. Meaning, you can actually kite back, get help from your own team.
Explosive power being locked in from Fnatic. Sivir was chosen for Rekkles. And LeBlanc being picked up by Peke. You know what? I'm still yet to be massively impressed by a LeBlanc player in Europe so far.
And it's actually normally you see Orianna being picked against LeBlanc because of the shield in the early game in the laning phase. So you shield yourself, start auto-attacking her, get a few hits onto her, and you can farm really well. Peke clearly feeling confident here that he can actually do this matchup with no issues. Unless, of course, it's going to be sOAZ in the top lane. We've seen it before. We can never count sOAZ out when it comes to these kind of weird picks in the top lane. However, though, with Sivir as well, Sivir Karma, mobility for everyone.
And interestingly enough, the second time they met this season was LeBlanc versus Orianna in the mid lane. That was, of course, an SK Gaming victory. We see that SK have rounded off their lineup here. Trundle in the top lane for Freddy. And the final pick that did come in there, of course, was the Zhao as well in the jungle, becoming more popular with that Feral Flare.
I believe that the quote is from Freddy, if Trundle's available, I will always play it. So, I mean, the moment it wasn't banned, I guess, didn't matter what Fnatic picked, it was going to be a Trundle top.
Yeah, every single ban here, none of the bans are against the top laner, so he had every option to pick. Went for the Trundle. He really loves this pick here, really feels he can always do an impact, have an impact early game, and also split push later on, and you become this very tanky beast in team fights. And then, of course, with Svenskeren jumping into the face of Fnatic with him, they have very, very strong front line. Combine that with the shield, with the Sona ultimate.
This could be a top lane Lee Sin, of course. sOAZ has been playing this massively. Anyone, check out his solo queue history. He has non-stop played Lee Sin in that top lane. So we'll see how that works out against the Trundle. It's actually a pretty good pick against him.
It's a very good pick early on. You can do a lot of harass onto him, a lot of damage. And remember again, with the changes to Lee Sin, the fact that when you actually shield yourself, the cooldown is reduced, like it's cut in half. So you can actually do it more often. So it's harder to trade 1v1 against the top lane Lee Sin now, which makes it a very strong pick. Issue though is late game, you become more or less just a tank, and then someone who can kick a person back into your team, because the Trundle will be outscaling him and will be able to kill him or duel him 1v1.
Both of these teams are very, very fast. There's a lot of speed buffs from both of these teams. This is going to be a pretty chaotic 5v5 fight.
A lot of moving around at least here, and Fnatic really with this pick comp with both Kha'Zix and Lee Sin for the single target damage, combine that with, of course, Leblanc jumping in, and then you have all the mobility from Karma, from Sivir. So if someone from SK is out of position, and Fnatic with the great ward control they normally have, spot them out, pop the ultimate, instantly go towards them.
Interested to see how Svenskeren does in this one as well, because obviously he has been banned out of this one again. His performance is a little bit ropey earlier on, but we'll have to see.
We will have to see. With this best of 5 championship series ready to go, let's see who you picked to take the crown. According to the votes on LOLesports.com, you've chosen Fnatic by 81%. Wow. The Fnatic vote is always very strong.
Yeah. It's always in Fnatic's favor.
Hey, let's not discount. Fnatic were the spring and summer champions in 2013. They finished 3rd at the World Championships. They finished runners-up at Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. They are by far the most experienced team right now in Europe.
Yeah. And they always seem to perform when it matters too. So of course the voting makes sense.
So here we go then, game number 1 of the finals here. El Clasico one more time as SK Gaming take on Fnatic. Really interested to see how this one goes down, and we heard from the players themselves, CandyPanda saying, I'm really excited to get this series off. They've played 4 times over the year, they've got 5 games possibly to come up here, and well, who's going to come out on top? We'll be finding out, and are we going to see any level 1 action? That grouping from SK makes it seem so.
Yeah, remember yesterday, SK versus Rockout got caught out a few times by Rockout in that jungle and came off much worse. I wonder, of course, Fnatic would have watched those games, no doubt about that one, and they're wondering, are they going to do the same? You can see the positions of Fnatic. They are very much covering off every single position, every known position that SK will take.
And also really looking to go towards the blue buff of SK Gaming. The late invade, of course, around the 150 mark. They can move in, teleport on source. He can always just teleport down to the bottom lane. He won't miss any XP or gold.
So Freddy, the one sat patrolling there through the river, going top to bottom. Doesn't want to be going too far there because Lee Sin and Siv are waiting in the brush. Karma actually is at the back of the Baron pit here. So Fnatic set up for a defense. They'll get an early warning if SK move either from this ramp that we're seeing now or from the Tribush side at the top of the map, and they can try and close in. SK are grouping. It looks like they're going to move it.
Fnatic actually backing away as well. They want to go in here, join in with YellOwStaR. This could actually be a face check. Let's see if Fnatic can pick up an early kill onto SK Gaming.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see who blinks
Do
first. Here we go, Svenskeren's going to be the first one going in there. It's going straight in towards it. All the damage front-loaded onto Svenskeren. Flashes out of there. sOAZ goes a little too deep on this one. Svenskeren quickly gets shielded up. Quick skill being picked up there. That may be a problem for Jesiz taking that defensive ball, but there's no first blood for either team.
Few summoners used though. sOAZ had to flash away. Svenskeren, of course, had to flash away. The heal was actually used from CandyPanda here. And we're going to get 2v2 up in top.
This is really bad for nRated. The Q has landed and they're going to follow it through as well. CandyPanda down to half HP. nRated sticking around. There's a lot of damage being exchanged here. Not messing around. SK might not be too bothered about that when it comes to this lane phase with his heals coming in. But there's the start. The Q's landed. First blood for sOAZ on Lee Sin. Will they get any more? CandyPanda is low. Wait for the Q. No, he flashes under the tower.
And sOAZ, he decided to stay around because the flash was used here from nRated. Cyanide now in the mid lane.
They're piling in. Jesiz in trouble. He's gone out. The tower hit on Cyanide. The second one comes through. But Payne can finish it off. He gets himself a first kill as well. And now with a Leblanc starting to get kills, that's a problem.
So Cyanide, after the whole level 1 trade here, he wasn't even in the fight. He was actually he had moved all the way down to the red buff of SK Gaming. They had no idea. There was no vision to actually spot him out. Tell a lie, there was actually a ward, so they knew he was there to take the red buff, and then still he actually managed to sneak up behind Jesiz and get a kill.
Absolutely amazing start to this one. It's 1,000 gold that Fnatic have as their lead here, just 3 minutes and 20 seconds into the game. We're going to see Rekkles and YellOwStaR just backing off from this one. Both of them got an assist apiece, and well, that's given a second Doran's Blade here so very early on in the game. That's dangerous for SK.
And also an Amp Tome as well for Peke, so he's getting that ability bonus. He's got himself a pink and a green ward. Single sight ward is of course being picked up by Cyanide. Already got that Spirit Stone at the very start of this game. Everything massive for Fnatic in these opening few minutes.
Yeah, and we saw in the last series how important it is to get an early lead in the bottom lane. We saw there with, of course, Caitlyn or Taps being caught out. This time around, it was the bottom lane from SK, so they fell behind in XP early. Of course, they're now trying to farm back. Whenever Rekkles and YellOwStaR join in though, they can do a lot of damage onto them, especially with this extra Doran's Blade so early.
Cyanide getting his second red buff of the game after that steal earlier on. And he'll be happy to take that away and stay in front of Svenskeren at this point of things. And he's already got that Spirit Stone in. Rekkles and YellOwStaR are now back into this lane on the top side. The sustain out of SK Gaming will negate that second early Doran's Blade somewhat though.
Yeah, so again, Sona against Karma is a very, very strong pick because you got the heal, you can sustain both yourself and your AD carry. It's a very, very strong pickup, but also very risky. We saw it here, the low mobility, your flash is gone. sOAZ just stayed around, they got the kill onto him. Cyanide can now come up for a gank. There's still no flash on nRated.
No flash on Jesiz either, and Cyanide is coming close. He's going to get spotted out by that ward though in the bush, so if he does try and make another move to come around the back of Jesiz, this time around he is very much aware of it. Of course, has that defensive ball ready to pull in that shield. Top lane is what we were touching on. You talked about the double Doran's Blade that now, of course, Rekkles has. We also should mention that health gem that was picked up by YellOwStaR, so that's going to keep him really. He's going to be the one in the face of SK. He's going to be the one that's going to be walking forward.
And also, you can get an early Sight Stone, and then of course he can switch his trinkets around, so he gets the sweeping lanes, gets some more vision control, and YellOwStaR, of course, is the support in the European LCS who actually killed the most wards.
We're doing that a lot more here today, you have to feel. Again, if you look at the CS, bang even at this point between CandyPanda and nRated, despite the fact of all that action here at level 1. SK, now that they've got into a bit of a farm groove, have pulled that 1,000 gold lead a little bit further back towards their favor. Peke doing a good job. We've already seen him getting the proc on the chains off onto Jesiz underneath the tower, keeping him under control for now.
Look here, early pickaxe for sOAZ. So he's gonna build it towards the Tiamat and then focus on a lot of damage and of course with a lot of wave clear. But Cyanide now up in the top lane. Flash is almost ready on nRated, but not yet.
Sneaking in, jumping onto nRated. The chopper's come down, but nRated's caught out. And Cyanide sinks at Taste of Fear in and gets himself a kill.
That's the thing with Sona. Your mobility is non-existent. You can speed up yourself very, very little in the early game because you obviously don't max your E. So it means when you have no flash, you're an easy target to just gank over and over, and Fnatic doing a great job with it.
As Jesiz once again being pushed onto by Peke. Some good damage back though onto Leblanc, so that will stop them being so aggressive. So, Freddy has actually hit level 6 here, slightly before sOAZ. This turret is going to be going down. Funnily enough, that's not going to be replied to because of that 1v1 in the bottom and getting that kill onto nRated on the top side.
They're trying to delay as long as possible. They want those minions to go down, and then Rekkles times it so the last tower hit comes out. There's no minions left to be picked up. Svenskeren coming in towards Peke in the mid lane, but he's going to be very tricky to pin down with that distance.
And not only is there no minions, at the same time, the wave is going to just be stuck in the middle here because both the waves are the same thing. There's no pushing towards SK or pushing towards Fnatic. It means sOAZ can now recall and go up in this top lane without a chance of SK to have pushed the wave all the way down to the turret. So he won't miss any CS or XP.
So some more items coming out. Cutlass as Freddy comes back into his lane. In the mid lane, we also saw the back off, and both coming in with identical items there as well. Got a water piece and the workings of that Athene's unholy grail. AD carries also getting themselves vamp scepters and boots of speed, and there is the switch around as we'd expect from Fnatic. They've taken the top turret, they're going to go down bottom. SK might have to move a little bit quicker on this one to not lose too much damage, not lose too much health, sorry, on that bottom outer turret.
Yeah, that speed boost from YellOwStaR being used just to make sure Rekkles gets into that wave just in time to catch those 2 CS that would have been lost otherwise. Svenskeren caught out red buff actually, being forced away. Does not have smite on this one, and YellOwStaR surely would have realized that. He's going to try and steal it away. Now he's going to go aggressive on Svenskeren. Does have to burn the flash. He got the red buff though.
And a very aggressive invade because of the dual lane from SK being up in the top lane, so they knew there was no chance they could be here yet. YellOwStaR just walked straight into the jungle, found Svenskeren, and tried to set something up. Forced away the flash because Peke was moving from the mid lane.
Expertly done there by YellOwStaR, and as you said, scary stuff there for Svenskeren. I think he expected that someone else would be following up there, that it wouldn't just be Karma to harass him at the red buff. Funnily enough, turns out it just was that Karma. However, CandyPanda and nRated are now down in the bottom lane. CandyPanda's lost out on a lot of farm because of this death of nRated, then going back, then coming back in, then realizing he has to go down to that bottom lane. And we see that YellOwStaR and Rekkles just going to harass them as much as possible underneath this tower. It's Sona after all though, so a lot of it will be regen quickly.
Speaking of harassment, look at this blue buff. sOAZ sticking around here. Of course, he hasn't got smite. Goes aggressive straight onto Jesiz though. We'll put some damage towards him. He's going to rotate back towards Peke in that, and they're actually going to go for Dragon.
Simply because they're forcing multiple members from SK over to the blue buff, so they know they have to move all the way around down to this Dragon. Already started, Fnatic should pick it up for free.
Started and surely going to be finished here. If you look at the minimap, Jesiz in the mid lane, not moving down towards it. You've got Lee Sin, who's on the bottom side of the SK jungle there, just to run interference if anyone does come over. And you can expect that there. That red camp was left because Svenskeren had to flash. He knows that Svenskeren will come around to it at some point to clear that one up. He might even get Jesiz, or he might get sandwiched.
Here comes Peke, he's going to come around, they're going to try and explode. Jesiz gets punted straight towards him. The damage comes through. Shockwave whiffs. Jesiz gets taken down, and now Svenskeren's in trouble. He's on sOAZ, who's a strong top laner. He's doing a lot of damage. Svenskeren simply gets kited around, and it's a double kill for Peke.
Oh, the rocket missed too. Such a smart play by sOAZ here. Peke was moving to him from the second they noticed Jesiz was moving around the edge here. Came in and just kicked him back in the face of Peke. And then, of course, the ultimate completely missed here for Jesiz.
And that leaves a bit of a terrible sign for SK, you have to feel. 5-0 in kills. There's a 4,000 gold lead. And you've got a 3-0-0 Leblanc. sOAZ actually taking a lot of damage from Freddy here. There is a pillar coming down. sOAZ, can he escape this one? In the end, Freddy decides not to chase again. No vision of anyone on that bottom side. Actually, they've got vision of everyone here because Fnatic have pushed that middle turret out with 2 men, and they'll take that middle turret as well. A simple rotation to bottom will surely give them a 3rd tower as well.
Especially with Leblanc here, 3 early kills. When he goes back to shop with a lot of gold, he can join whatever lane he wants to and just pick up a kill. Going towards Jesiz.
Okay, once again, using that distortion, pouncing on, keeping Jesiz guessing every single time. Cyanide taking the blue buff away in his own jungle. We'll see Peke not wanting that one, it seems. And, well, I wonder whether they're going to rotate down towards this bottom lane. That's where I'm looking towards. That's what the next focus surely will be from Fnatic.
There is one thing, though. up in the top lane, we just saw the duel between sOAZ and Freddy going heavily in favor of Freddy. So he should be able to just stay and split push throughout the entire game and always force 1 or 2 members of Fnatic to go up there and try and stop him. And that's the thing for SK Gaming. As long as Freddy does well 1v1, they will have the map pressure. Because then, whenever Fnatic moves up a member, they can go towards the Dragon, they can go towards the mid lane, maybe the bot lane. And when there's only 3 members from Fnatic or even less, then SK Gaming, even though they are behind, can try and set something up.
Team map for sOAZ. Is he thinking, okay, I need to test Freddy again and see if I can fight him this time? Under the tower last time, that didn't work, and this will certainly help his cause if Cyanide can get in there. And Cyanide has gone through. Not seen by any ward, and there is a stealth bug gonna dive straight on top of Freddy, who tries to turn things around. The pillar does go down, and that's blocked out Cyanide completely, but sOAZ here gonna kick him back. Cyanide trying to run away. Freddy's gonna go down. You can't escape that one. One more will do it, and it is sOAZ that picks up the 6th kill of the game here for Fnatic.
Yeah, very good reaction from Fnatic, saying we need sOAZ to get ahead in this 1v1. So Cyanide moves up there, and you also see him just backing away from the kill, making sure sOAZ would get it so he becomes stronger.
Well, while that's happening, it does show themselves that there is no jungler in this bottom lane, and SK Gaming take advantage of that. They push up, they're trying to put pressure on towards that bottom lane. Zap will not land because that dirty minion blocked in front. Fnatic trying to do the same. They're pushing heavily on towards this top lane combo. They're going to get this turret down. I'm not sure SK is going to do the same.
SK can't push out on turret because of the wave clear from both Sivir and Karma. You already see Svenskeren going towards the mid lane just to push it into the turret, trying to deny some CS from Peke.
Everybody else is rotating around as well. SK Gaming, 4 members in towards this mid lane, but look at
scary.
Fnatic. 4 members, they're collapsing from every single angle. Svenskeren has got an ultimate. Here comes Peke, distortion on towards him. Tries to get the lockdown onto Jesiz. sOAZ coming around the side. They're keeping them guessing. Teleport, Freddy's going to join the fray as well. He's coming across from that top lane. Peke off on his own at the moment. He needs the rest of his team to come in. Remember, there is no tower for them to fall back to, so they are just going to back away with the minions.
And sOAZ a little bit unfortunate that the minions followed him out of the lane into the jungle. So he's like, well, they can see everything that I'm doing here. That's not ideal. No kill picked up there, but for Fnatic, think more of a tower defense scenario. Stopping SK taking that one down as a super mega death rocket. Just, I'm not sure what that was.
On who? Everyone's like full HP.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Misclick. Let's put it down to that for now. So.
Notice Peke though here in the jungle of SK. He's gonna spot out someone up here.
Oh, they're on the ward.
Oh,
distortion could catch them both out. nRated taking so low. One more hit. But there's the crescendo. Turns it back around on his head. CandyPanda in there. Jesiz comes in to get himself the easy kill.
Completely backfired here for Peke. He thought he had more damage, so the shielding coming in from Jesiz, saving in red, turning it around, and at this point for SK Gaming, every single kill matters.
So close to getting the kill. So close, but yet so far by the end as Jesiz still gets slowed down there by YellOwStaR. We've got less than a minute here until the second dragon of the game comes up. Fnatic don't need to be too worried about that. They've got full vision control of it. A pink ward sat just around the lip of that pit as well. We see blue buff will go over to Jesiz. He's going to recall, which will leave him about 30 seconds to get back there with the rest of the team if SK feels strong enough to go for it.
But there's a very, very big wave down here in the bottom lane. Sona already joining in with the team. They want this last outer turret going. You already see the deep wards from YellOwStaR, so they got full vision of SK Gaming if they want to move and try and defend.
They're going to push on through. This tower will go down. Remember, no crescendo available for nRated, but if they face check into towards this one, YellOwStaR is ready and waiting. He wants to steal away some of the CS here. Will get it as well, both of the columns. And that's a 70 gold along with 100. Happy times for YellOwStaR.
Very happy times, and now sOAZ actually doing a very good job against Freddy.
Yeah, interesting fight. This one, Blade of the Ruin King is done for Freddy, and sOAZ says, okay, I've had enough of that fight. Kicks the troll back, and, well, just in perfect timing here for the Dragon. Tower taken by Fnatic. Got some deeper wards down in there as well. SK once again are going to be nowhere near this Dragon to have a go. And it's Super Mega Death Rocket this time thrown out there. And does a bit of damage, of course, but no one even remotely low enough for that to have an impact. Second Dragon of the game goes to Fnatic.
And now expect to see Fnatic go into the jungle of SK and try and do what Peke was doing before. Wait around. Wait for SK to push up the lanes and then try and collapse on them from behind, from the side. Find this pick here, because pushing straight down onto SK Gaming with, of course, Orianna to try and wave there, it can be a little bit hard, it can be a little bit risky. They're not tanky enough to just dive onto SK yet, so they might want to find this pick first in the jungle, or if someone from SK overextends the lane, for instance Freddy.
Well, we'll see how it works out. SK Gaming have good vision control, as they always have done, honestly, in the games they've played, and Fnatic will be looking to try and do the same. YellOwStaR himself has, I think, bought the most wards in the entire European
Killed the
LCS.
most, bought the most.
He is the king of vision. You could say he's a visionary.
Oh.
Woo!
That was pretty impressively bad. YellOwStaR here is going to be clearing it out. Just as you talk about him clearing out the wall.
YellOwStaR, one more.
Gets a pink ward there that was just put down in the Baron pit. Svenskeren, I have to say, been fairly quiet so far this game. That might change now, though, because he's coming in. sOAZ already at half HP. Freddy, where is the pillar going to come down? He's got Subjugate running. sOAZ flashes, but the pillar does finally come in. Svenskeren gets it, and that will be the second kill of the game coming in for SK.
And it can actually end up being a very big issue for Fnatic, the fact that sOAZ, he can't do anything to Freddy here. We saw the last fight they had where sOAZ looked good in the start, but then he just had to kick Freddy away because of the sustain from the ultimate. Of course, there's no ignite on sOAZ here, only a teleport, so he won't be able to stop some of the healing coming in from Freddy. That's why he can't duel him 1v1, and it means SK should be able to just push away with this troll throughout the entire game and get him very, very tanky.
So Fnatic are starting to let their gigantic advantage slide a bit. Let's not discount the fact they have a 5,000 gold advantage. They have that 4-2 turret advantage, and we are only 18 minutes into this game. Peke is now split pushing away from this one. CandyPanda is somewhat confident, considering he's got really no escape other than that flash here. He's quite happy to land that zap onto Peke.
You need to remember, Peke decided to go for the Fiends and not the DFG here early on, so his instant burst is not as high, and that's why also he couldn't kill nRated before, actually, when he tried to get him here in the bush. So he's more focused on more damage in the team burst than just straight up instant burst to a target.
This could be dangerous. SK gonna walk over that ward. That's a nice ward in position by Peke. We'll spot them early enough, and Fnatic using that opportunity to sneak another 3 men around here into that red buff brush. As it happens, no one actually moving out there, but they've scanned as well, so they know that they're not spotted at this point, and they're going to try and come in around the side.
nRated in all sorts of trouble. Oh, the inner flame does not land, but Peke still goes in. Crescendo comes out. That stops him in the tracks. Freddy teleporting in from the top lane. That means Fnatic are going to evacuate, but that leaves actually sOAZ open in the top wave to push that inhibitor turret.
Yeah, I'm not sure why Freddy didn't cancel his teleport here, because Fnatic had already disengaged away from SK. It means a lot of hits from sOAZ onto the turret here, and Fnatic can just try and keep multiple members from SK at this turret. We did see, however, Fnatic moving into the jungle, waiting for SK to just move away from the turrets, and then they collapsed in from the side here. But due to the flashes being up for both CandyPanda and nRated, they got into the turret.
Decent little chunk of damage done by sOAZ in that top lane. The 4-man defense here of SK seems to have held Fnatic off right now, and Cyanide will be the one to go back to mid, push that lane further out. Of course, inner turret is still standing in that area of the map, and Svenskeren actually backing away. Peke really wants to keep that pressure going. They're going to try and clear out the vision as well that they saw SK put down just moments ago, and maybe even keep this up for another 2 minutes until that dragon comes in.
Pressure is exactly what they are applying. Just look across the map. Oh, hello. No, they're not going to catch out sOAZ is, though, trying to protect off that blue buff. They're going to try and steal that one away. Cyanide is just over the hedge as well. He can jump straight in there. Has got those wings evolved now at level 11. May try and come in for the steal. There's the ward coverage. Do they fancy this one? No, I think they're going to let it go.
Close.
Sonic Wave nearly caught it out, but then while that was all happening, while SK invested so many resources into just getting the blue buff, they almost lost that middle turret.
And it's been the story of the game, to be honest. Every single time SK wants to get a blue buff or something, they need to invest multiple members to try and get it, so Fnatic can just push elsewhere on the map or try and set a gang up somewhere else.
Peke actually was waiting to the side. He was spotted. SK had already pinged him, but again, he returns to that bottom lane to keep that pressure going. Considering what we said in the pre-game here, SK in their games, and quite frankly, the second half of the season, maybe even a little bit earlier than that, they've been probably the best team at holding onto map control and rotating around. Fnatic playing them their own game at this stage.
And one thing also to remember is SK in the start of the season always had very long games, because they were so good at just defending, farming up. Even though they were 10, 15k behind, they could defend. And it's the same thing they want to try and do here, just farm up, extend the game by 10, 15, 20 minutes, so they get 3 or 4 items on the key members, especially Jesiz on Orianna here. He needs to get his death cap, he needs to get the void stuff before he can really start becoming a threat in the team fights.
Yeah, it's a stark contrast, like Alex said, it's all about farming in that mid lane. Well, neither of these mid laners had chance to do that. They're having to rotate around the map and look for the farm. The rest of Fnatic are pushing on through. That dragon will be spawning in 7 seconds, which is why you see Rekkles and YellOwStaR heading straight down with the support of Cyanide.
I'm not sure if SK are going to be in a position to do anything about this one either. Freddy doesn't have his teleport available. Looking like we will see the third dragon of the game going Fnatic's way once again. Yeah, SK nowhere near that one. That's the dragon going to be going down then. And another chunk of gold to Fnatic. He's actually approaching 7,000 gold, the lead here. We've only just gone past that 20-minute mark as well.
And we already saw the plan for Fnatic. Go in the jungle, wait for someone to overextend, and go in there. And in case, oh, Cyanide being caught out.
Caught out with the crescendo and exploded where he stands. Svenskeren will be picking that kill up. And so far, so good. And SK Gaming, despite all this early pressure Fnatic had, have not really been pressured probably for the last 5-10 minutes.
No, I think we can at least say 100% sure that SK know exactly what the plan for Fnatic was. That's why they've been doing a good job of not overextending, and this time around they were just waiting for someone to go in and ward. And now they also take the mid turret because nobody's there to defend. Well,
Also,
except for YellOwStaR.
Yeah. Also credit to SK there, I think. I mean, even despite this pressure from Fnatic, they've kept wards on their bottom side of the jungle. The top side of the jungle is not quite as much vision, but the bottom side certainly is, and now they're going to try and lock up Freddy here. There is a Subjugate going to be used against sOAZ, and also that Blade of the Ruin King to give him the movement speed, but will they finish him off? Rekkles is doing a lot of damage. sOAZ going decently low from this one, but it is going to be a kill. It will go to Rekkles.
So Freddy pushing all the way up here. It was just a matter of time before we get punished for it. Yes, they got to kill him to Cyanide, but still the rest of Fnatic were in a good position at least to go up there and kill him. And SK Gaming, they took the mid turret, but they couldn't do anything else. They had to back off from there. So Freddy giving up a kill here and also using his flash, which can be very important for the next few minutes.
Yeah, well, I think Freddy's proven that they have to 2v1 in there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Very close to taking down someone in a 2v1. He's only going to get stronger as well, which is a bit of a scary thing for Fnatic.
Exactly, that's the thing. He's been able to dual source for the entire game. So once SK gets some more farm, if they can get more farm, and the rest of the members can become stronger so they can actually fight against 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 members of Fnatic, then SK Gaming can take advantage of the fact that Freddy is so strong. Before that though, we're just going to see him push up the wave, and if he goes too far, he's going to die again.
Let's have a look at some of the items coming out here. Some Firecake was done, in fact, for Freddy the last time he went home after dying. Also seeing Randuin's Omen coming out for Svenskeren. The Mikhail's Crucible as well is in there for nRated. So few bigger items coming into play here that are certainly going to be helping SK Gaming out. We can see that sOAZ has picked up his Sunfire's Cape now as well, which is a real big bonus considering how much he was being battered by Freddy before.
Still won't actually be able to duel him. No. Also, we saw the fight before, even when Rekkles was there, Freddy almost turned it around onto sOAZ here, but still managed to pick up the kill. And also why you see sOAZ moving away from the lane where Freddy was, because I don't want to duel you, I'm just going to go to a different lane, push it up. If you guys send multiple members down bot lane, we just start the Baron then.
Well, at the moment it is sOAZ going to try and split, but they're looking to, they may land on towards actually nRated, who did come very close to face checking on towards Cyanide. Instead, the zap lands, and look how much damage that single zap did from CandyPanda there. With that last Whisper and Bloodthirster stacked in with the Zeal, he started to do some serious damage, and when you don't buy any armor as Cyanide has done, then it's gonna hit you hard.
Really hurt onto him, but Payne now needs to get away from this.
Yeah, Freddy is a scary beast. A single chomp on Peke, shredded down a third of his health, but Fnatic are chasing.
And Freddy's right in the middle of this one. I don't think he's tanky enough to survive. It's Rekkles against that. There is sOAZ off the side on towards Svenskeren. They use a Randuin, but is it enough to get him away? No, it's not. I thought the shockwave would have come there from Jesiz. It didn't in the end. They give up 2 kills. They give up a blue buff. Fnatic are turning. They're going Baron.
First mistake made by SK Gaming on the map here. They get caught out. Fnatic pops the ultimate from Rekkles and just piles onto them so fast, so much mobility. No turrets around to help them. And that's 2 kills. And now the Baron. Just what Fnatic needed.
And that's such a tragedy because SK Gaming had hung on so well here. They had great vision in that bottom half of the jungle. They were starting to regain it back in that top, but they felt they caught Peke out. And Freddy just put his team in a perilous situation. SK Gaming are going to have to defend very hard against this Baroned up Fnatic.
And it is so hard to play against a pick comp like the one from Fnatic here, because one mistake and they will get onto you. How are you ever going to escape from Karma, Sivir? And then you got the Leblanc jumping in, you got of course Lee Sin, so mobile, you got Kha'Zix with the jumps, with the speeder from his ultimate. I mean, once you're actually being caught out of position, there's just nowhere to go.
So, you see another item coming in, Last Whisper for Rekkles on Sivir. Actually gone Distortion on his boots here as well. Obviously wants that flash to be up a little bit more often. It added safety in there for him.
Also, here in 4.5, it gives, I believe it's like 30% movement speed for 2 seconds. And Svenskeren is taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, locked up. Crucible actually used there onto him, which gave him that heal, of course, and removed the chains effect.
Didn't have vision in the bush, which is why they didn't chase on that one. Now Peke fancies it. He comes around once again, gets another poke, trying to bait out that crescendo. Was not used this time around. Dragon is up in 30 seconds. Peke continuing to try and find his targets, continuing to poke down SK Gaming while the rest of the team take down the inner turret.
And it is, of course, 20% movement speed for 1 second you get by upgrading your boots here from Rekkles' side when he actually flashes. So just even more mobility for him and the team.
Especially when you got the heal in there as well.
Yeah.
He's gonna, if you have to use both, you're gonna be speeding away from that.
Oh god, you're gonna be so fast.
You're gonna be quick, especially if his ult is running, especially if Karma's there.
Yeah, Karma's there as well.
He's just flashing across the map. We've got 5 seconds here until Dragon comes back up. And well,
that was a lie.
That was a lie. Those 5 seconds passed faster than any 5 seconds of my life so far. Either way, it goes down. 4 Dragons, the single Baron, all to Fnatic. Those big money objectives in their favor. 6-3 in turrets, 9-3 in kills. The gold lead is over 10,000 now.
Really been controlling the objectives so well from Fnatic side. Never gave SK a chance to get on to the objective here. Yes, SK tried to ward up their own jungle and avoid being caught up by Fnatic. Gotta give them the credit at least, but Fnatic were doing such a good job just denying everything else and always also fighting for red buffs and blue buffs, putting SK in bad situations.
Well, I mean, it all began obviously from that level 1 fight,
yes.
that level 1 error. SK simply getting caught out, giving up 2 kills. Actually, although to be fair, Peke's kill was a well-worked gank from Cyanide and Peke, and of course the top lane was down to sOAZ sticking around, but Fnatic have never really given up this advantage again then.
Never, and again, when you get such a good start, you force summoners in the lane and you get a first blood up there, and at the same time your mid laner gets an early kill. You just need to push the advantage, and that's what they did. They sent Cyanide back up to the top lane to get another kill when there was no flash on nRated. And also, Carter's on to Rekkles, he's gonna build a play of their own king and be even faster.
SK are trying to set a trap of their own. We saw Alliance do this yesterday against Fnatic, and
Cyanide jumped in.
We saw how that went, and Cyanide did leap headfirst into it and spring it.
Ooh, YellOwStaR is very close going down there. Check it first. Nope.
Nope, not going to check it. There's a crescendo used, but he uses a Mikhail's. Is like, no, you're not going to have me from this one. Good shockwave, though. Gets 3 men. Super Mega Death Rocket as well as CandyPanda finishes off YellOwStaR. They're having to fight Freddy from the backside. sOAZ actually diving real deep in the middle. Now Peke comes around to help the team out. They lose 1 man here, not picking up any kills of their own.
Very, very scary combo though from Fnatic, or from SK, sorry, when they use the shockwave and then followed up by the rocket from CandyPanda here, picking up a kill for them. YellOwStaR probably should have checked the bush before he actually decided to walk down.
Yeah, face checking is the best not done at this level of play, especially 30 minutes into a game. And wise play though from SK. They waited a long time for that one, and they got their reward. They only got a support kill though. And you see Svenskeren clearing out that ward, and SK not falling for it the second time, making sure that bush is very much covered off.
And the thing for Fnatic is they don't actually have to do anything for the next few minutes. They can wait for the Baron to respawn, set it up, force SK out of the base, and then try and get an open team fight. Because now SK is just defending at the turrets. And we talked earlier about how it's very hard for Fnatic to dive onto a turret when there is the likes of Orianna, of course, Sona ultimate. If you get locked down under a turret here, at this point of the game, it's going to be very, very scary. Also due to the fact, well, okay, there's quite a lot of armor now onto sOAZ. He will be able to tank it, but the rest of the members won't.
If only YellOwStaR had a scrying orb. check that brush before
Yeah.
ending up going down to it. We'll see though. I think they're not too worried about that single kill. It's not something that you want to make a habit of though, constantly giving things away. As we get back to that split push, it's 3 men in the top lane, Leblanc in the mid and Lee Sin down bottom. We'll see where the pressure finally breaks this one. Still 1 minute and 40 till the Baron actually comes up as Rekkles. Gonna take a bit of damage there from Freddy, but already fairly far behind that steps line. And Freddy, he's still pretty tech heavy. Obviously he was singled out last time to go down, but at the end of the day it takes 3 or 4 people at this point to really focus him to kill him.
I mean, Freddy's been playing so well the entire game, actually. He was always the one where Fnatic had issues dealing with him, had to send multiple members to kill him, while the rest of SK was the target for Fnatic because they could get around them and get onto them.
SK Gaming, as we mentioned, are very good at delaying games, and they are trying their best against Fnatic here. This is the grand finals, remember, of the championships for the spring split playoffs. This is a best of 5, which is why you see the 0-0 at the top there. We have potentially 4 more games to go after this one. As it stands, Fnatic looking very strong. They have that 13,000 gold lead after a great start. It's actually a habit that Fnatic have started to get into. They get that very good early game start that they manage to turn into a lead, and it does put pressure on your opposition when you go that 1-0 down.
Okay, actually just stealing away the red buff there. Got a blue already. And Fnatic, I think, buying a bit of time here because the big boys coming up next. Baron in just 20 seconds time. They have full vision control.
Yeah. SK's not going to contest.
SK's not been near that for quite a while. Not that far out of their base.
They don't have to. They're so far behind in gold. They just need to wait in their base. Whenever minions come down, farm them, work towards your items. Look at Jesiz, for instance. He actually got Death Cap and Void Staff now. So he's becoming very scary. His Shockwave is going to start hurting a lot, making it even harder for Fnatic to try and close out the game. Unless, of course, they can do the same thing as they did earlier, where they catch SK out of a position.
Yeah, the rocket came out there from CandyPanda. They know that Fnatic picked up that Baron. They're going to have full vision of them heading towards that top wave of CandyPanda actually goes down the bottom. He's going to have to recall pretty quickly because that top inhibitor turret has already taken a touch of damage, and Fnatic are moving in full force.
Not messing around from this one. SK actually having to rotate over for that one. CandyPanda nowhere near though, so Fnatic are fast enough. They could have a bit of a 4v5 here. In the end though, no. Orianna clears out pretty much the entire first wave of minions. Next one is going to be made short work of, and some good damage there onto Cyanide as well. And this could be the problem for Fnatic if SK sit in this exact position just on the steps. How do you get through it?
Well, that's the thing. You need to catch someone out of position from SK, or you just need to say, we're going to dive 5 members straight onto you. And like sOAZ goes in first, kicks back CandyPanda into your team, and you just blow him up. There's no flash onto him, so they could have done it here. But SK, again, just staying around to defend. And we have to remember, damage-wise, Jinx versus Sivir, late game, Jinx wins out. Trundle versus Trundle versus Lee Sin. Trundle wins out as well. And then, of course, the shockwave from Jesiz here can be so important. Orianna is such a late game beast too.
Well, we see Peke getting a tiny couple of shots on towards that mid turret. Keeps being an annoyance every time he comes in, distorts his wound. sOAZ has now cleared out that bottom lane that CandyPanda had pushed in to try and delay this Baron as long as possible, which is why we see Freddy now going down there. The rest of SK, though, are doing a grand job. They've got good wave clear to keep all of these minions at bay. It's going to be a matter of time, though. Fnatic slowly but surely chipping down the turrets.
Yeah, that bottom lane, not quite the easiest one. I think possibly the hardest one to go into. They're going to go for Jesiz. sOAZ goes in there, but the minions blocking him from getting the Q off and traveling that far out. But Peke did get some good damage in there. Can they now open things up for that turret push? The problem is that those minions go down so very quickly. There they go diving towards Freddy once again. Jane's gonna leash him up, half of his health, and actually ultimate used there by Peke.
Freddy was taken very low as well. He's had to step back to the fountain. Jesiz didn't even get a chance to completely top off his health, so he's had to completely cover himself off. CandyPanda doing what he can, firing over that wall, but they're still holding off against this Baron. There's around about minute 20 seconds left remaining on it, and as of yet, Fnatic have yet to really make an impression on the SK's base.
Well, a positive thing for Fnatic at least is the fact that their home guard boots, here in 4.5 spin changed a little bit. You don't get instant health anymore. It's actually gonna take some time before you get it back. So it means SK can just buy 5 home guard boots and then run back to the base, heal up every single time you get poked down. They won't be able to do it. They need a bit more time for the fountain to heal them. So it means Fnatic, whenever they actually get some good damage onto Jesiz or Freddy, can go in and get a few hits onto the turret.
Need to get someone down low enough so that they have to go recall, and then they can have a 5v4 while staying healthy enough themselves. And we see there Freddy absolutely battering away on sOAZ.
And you actually see Peke before. He just jumps in, and then one hit onto the turret, jumps out. He doesn't even go for a champion. He just want to get a few hits, because once they get the first turret down, they can force a team fight at the inhibitor, or just take it for free, and then put focus in the other lanes afterwards.
And that turret's been taken down to half hit points already, so it seems to be working for Peke. Every time that wave comes in, Jesiz clearing the wave, comes in, gets a little shot, basic attack on towards it, pokes it down again. Freddy, sOAZ, been punting him away from this one, buying time for Rekkles to get on towards the turret. Rekkles, though, going to get focused on. They can't quite catch him down, and that bought time for Peke to get more poke on that mid turret.
Just doing everything they can to get a few hits every single time. Again, he jumps in, one auto attack, jumps out again here. So Fnatic, clearly, they know they can't just dive onto SK. They need to get a few hits every single time.
Literally the most annoying combo you can play against at this stage of things as well. Again, sOAZ going to come in. That's a Banshee's Veil on CandyPanda though, so even if you connect, it's not really going to do all that much to you. Fnatic must be sat on quite a lot of gold here. Yeah, everyone is pretty much over 2,000 gold, so a lot to spend as finally they do some damage back here onto Peke and Rekkles. That Baron buff, of course, has now ran off Fnatic. That may be a signal to start to back away and spend some of that gold.
It means at least for Fnatic's side, it's going to be harder for them to do what they're doing now because they don't have the Baron buff to heal them back up. Peke, he's going to stay around his HP for a while now, so if you want to jump in again, take a few hits in the face, then afterwards he actually needs to go back to the base. So it's been working at least to get a few hits on the turret, but it's not been enough for Fnatic.
Well, Fnatic have that gigantic gold lead. You can see it's what, 18,000 gold, but when 10,000 of that gold is sat in your bag, it's not being made use of. They're all sitting on around about 2k, so Fnatic really need to, I think, step away from this siege for now. Let SK get a little reprieve, go spend all of that gigantic gold sums they have and make use of it. They're going to take the dragon away, that's going to increase that lead yet more. But SK still are holding on. That middle turret, though, is only going to take a concerted effort from Fnatic, I feel, to take it down now.
It just requires 1 or 2 seconds where SK is out of position, and then Rekkles or Peke can go in or together, get the last few hits onto this turret, kill it, and then go in towards the inhibitor. And SK Gaming, I don't think they've stepped out of the base for the last possibly like 15 minutes.
No, and I don't think they're going to for the next 15 either. I mean, there's literally nothing outside of the base for them to really go for right now. Did see that dragon finally go down. Took a little while for Cyanide to finish off, but they have finally started spending all that gold there from before. So, let me run you through those items. Banshee's Veil for Lee Sin, along with a Ruby Sightstone that he picked up there. DFG now for Peke. We've also got the Guardian Angel on Cyanide. Double Randuins in the team. Like, if they're ever going to dive, this is probably the point.
This is the time at least, and Jesiz really needs to get his Banshees, otherwise if he's standing there defending against Peke, he can get blown up instantly. Like, there's no Zhonyas, he needs to get the Banshees completed. Should have it soon though. I think he's been farming for quite a while here, and once he actually picks it up, he can avoid being just one-shotted by Peke.
Well, surprise, surprise, Baron spawning in 20 seconds. Fnatic are ready and waiting to capitalize on that third Baron of the game. And SK, as you rightly pointed out, do not plan on leaving this base anytime soon. They're happy to hold on, happy to stretch this game out, happy to try and get their champions fed as possible. But you can see they're behind in levels. Every single member behind in levels. They're literally not moving.
Nope, dancing around as well from Svenskeren. Looks very nice. And meanwhile, a Baron is being taken.
Baron being taken. Had a quick peek at the player cameras behind you. SK just chatting away, not really got hands on keyboards right now. They know exactly what Fnatic are doing, of course. Baron going down, the third Baron of the game. Fnatic have had all 5 dragons as well. Oh, CandyPanda. Stepping out of the comfort zone there, went a little bit down that bottom lane, but he's going to be swiftly moving back into position. But will Fnatic try try and capitalize on that. Well, it looked like they had moved forward to have a go at something, but in the end, well, they don't find that opening. And they're stood on wards right now, so SK, I have to give them credit, they're getting a couple of wards outside the base so they could see the exact rotations that Fnatic were going to do between the top and the middle lanes. sOAZ getting a little bit deep, but he'll just safeguard straight out.
Big wave in the top.
This is it, surely.
Peke gonna get some attack onto this one. It's leaving that mid lane exposed. Jesiz gets a big burst of damage down on him. Ignite was used this time around. That tower going very, very low. sOAZ continuing to keep the damage down. There's the 3-time strike. Freddy's gonna get dropped. You can see Cyanide jumping in. One more cleave. sOAZ gets the kill on towards him. Svenskeren in trouble. Crescendo comes out, stops sOAZ. Cyanide now has to back out. He has got that Guardian Angel, remember, but the second inhibitor turret will fall. And Fnatic now have exposed the SK base like a can opener.
That surely is it here. I thought that as well when they came in. Guardian Angels in there as well. We're going to see the teleport actually coming in from sOAZ. He went back to heal himself up and they moved straight in. Shockwave actually at the back, but the Nexus turret's already been focused here. Fnatic, not sure why they're not going for the second one in there at this point. Cyanide pretty low, but still has his Guardian Angel here. That's a dead troll up on the top side as they go in on towards Peke. He's going to get his passive pop, but they go back in. Svenskeren goes down. sOAZ gets that one. There's another one for sOAZ. Double kill on that front, and now they can finally turn. They've broken the defense from SK Gaming, and it's Fnatic that take game number 1 here in the championship match.
It took them 42 minutes to finally take them down. It's the advantage they had from the very start of this game where they got those 2 early kills in the top and middle lane, and they held on to that advantage the whole way through. Credit to SK Gaming, they held on very well. They've proven that throughout the entire season, but it is Fnatic with game 1.
Very safe play by Fnatic. Didn't want to just try and dive onto SK Gaming, even though they were so far ahead. Actually just stayed around, got a few hits, kept doing it. I believe they got like 3 Barons before they actually broke through the defense, got in, got the turrets down, and then could take it.
And you can understand it from SK's side. Realistically, outside of those turrets, they were never going to be able to win a fight. So they sit back and they hope to God that Fnatic make a wrong decision, that they get caught out, that they can snipe someone low HP off and then maybe push back a little bit. But I think the game at that point was too far gone anyway.
I mean, what they needed that perfect combo. They almost got it when they were sitting in the bush, you know, the crescendo, the shockwave, and then you could see the Mega Death Rocket coming across, and they have to get a kill on CandyPanda so he can get excited, so he can start running around and mowing people down. That's all they were really holding for. They waited in the bush, they could do it once. They only got 1 kill out of it, and that wasn't really enough to capitalize.
And that was also the reason Fnatic didn't just group up 5 members and say, we're just going to
dive
straight on
that
you.
again.
Nope, we're just going to split up in all the lanes and just poke away a little bit. One of you guys will make a mistake at some point. We saw Jesiz going up there, no Banshees yet. Peke jumped onto him, forced him back. Freddy came up there and tried to defend, stayed for too long, he died, and from there on and out, it was just turret and turret, and they could just finish the game.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you lose Freddy, then you know that you're not going to be able to defend that one. He was by far and away the tankiest of them all. Just want to look down some of the scores here. 5-1-4 for sOAZ, padding his stats a little bit there at the end with that double kill. Had a lot of trouble, though, in his lane matchup.
Yeah, so first of all, obviously sOAZ invested a lot of time, level 1, by staying up top lane here, going for the first blood, which meant Freddy was just getting level 2, or maybe even level 3 actually, down in the bottom lane before sOAZ decided to join in. Picked up some minions, so he fell a little bit behind early on. He picked up the first blood, yes, but he got behind in XP, and it meant Freddy could stay in the lane, could get strong, and then when it came to split pushing, we just saw sOAZ use a lot more time with the team, where Freddy was just staying in the lane all the time farming.
So, looking towards the next game, it is a best of 5, remember, so still a bunch of games to go, minimal of 2 games to go for these teams. If Fnatic were to go 3-0, what do these teams have to do? What do Fnatic have to look towards in this game? Because it wasn't a perfect game from them. They had control throughout it, but there could have been things that were done better. And what do SK do to stop themselves getting in this situation in the first place?
Well, first of all, Fnatic, pick-wise, don't have to change anything. It's a very strong comp they were playing here. So much mobility, moving around. Every single time we saw them, whenever SK was out of position, pop the ultimates, catch on to them, get the kills. So, very, very strong comp by Fnatic. Didn't even use the Soraka, which we saw yesterday. Can of course be a pick they can pull out here. SK, well, first of all, they need to make sure the level 1s are actually working properly for them. Because it was an issue. It was the whole thing that started, like, it just went wrong from level 1 from them. And then with sOAZ, I mean, sOAZ staying in the top lane, getting the kill onto nRated. if the level 1 was different, if it's just been a standard level 1, nothing happened there, it could be a completely different game because the Sona and the Jinx lane was actually very strong against Karma and against the, I believe it was Sivir. So they could have, if there's standard lanes, you know, no summoners being blown in level 1, it could have been a completely different game.
Well, we'll see if it works out, whether they do pick in towards that. For now, though, we are going to check over to Shox and Youngbuck, who have joined us, being joined by Alliance's Froggen.
Thank you very much, D-Man. Indeed, Froggen has joined us here as well to analyze the games that are coming up here still today. The very first game, Fnatic coming out very strong versus SK Gaming. Taking it back to the beginning, if we analyze the comps and maybe the pick strategy they went for, a first lock-in Orianna for SK Gaming. What did you make of that?
I did not expect Orianna first pick, but they wanted to have a farm-heavy champion that does good in almost every situation, and they had a solid plan with picking Jinx and then going for the 2 versus 1. And Fnatic's comps is a bit out of meta. I don't think it's actually the way you're supposed to play in this meta because they had a pick composition. And I think SK, they could basically just push down the turrets and then they could group mid and siege against Fnatic's pick comp, and I think they would have done really well, but that didn't happen.
Indeed, that didn't happen because level 1, a lot of skirmishes there. sOAZ got a kill and xPeke got a kill. Tell me, you're a Trundle versus a Lee Sin, and then the Lee Sin eventually comes up in your lane and he already has a kill, but as a Trundle, you could push a little, so how does that match up then?
I think the most important thing about that level 1 was that SK wanted to have a 2 versus 2 lane with the Sona against Karma. And SK read Fnatic that they wanted to lane swap, especially when sOAZ hovered over Vladimir to play into the Trundle, but eventually went for Lee Sin. Lee Sin isn't that great against Trundle, but he's very good in lane swap. So SK read Fnatic like an open book. But then the reaction of Fnatic, and especially sOAZ, it just shows so much confidence and so much teamwork that he stayed into the top lane to get those kills. Most top laners would have just teleported to the bot lane. And after those kills, I also have to give huge props to Cyanide, because not only did he get a great kill in the mid lane, but he also used the fact that nRated didn't have flash anymore to just seal the deal for Rekkles and YellOwStaR to dominate that lane.
So all those lanes were going well, and then in the mid lane, you said first, well, if they go into lane now, the Orianna versus Leblanc, xPeke leveled up his E, I believe, so he wouldn't have had a good time, but then he got a kill. So how did that lane match up after that?
Yeah, I don't think Jesiz controlled his wave very well at level 1, and that resulted in Cyanide level 2 ganking because xPeke just leveled up after skilling E without getting punished at all when Jesiz started with his shield, and I think he could have punished Peke way harder, and he should never die to the level 2 gank.
So a very explosive start. We were in for a great game, and then everything kind of slowed down. What was the reason? Did Fnatic not push through when they could, or was it just impossible for them?
It was mainly because of Fnatic's composition. Like, they had pretty much no poke. They have a comp where they need to get picks, and then they need to transfer that into objectives, which they did very well. But then you saw them being like 15 and 18k ahead. SK is basically going AFK in their base. If Fnatic gets a free Baron, it doesn't matter. They get like 1k damage onto the mid turret, and that's the only thing they ever make of that Baron. And they climb another 5k gold ahead before the other Baron happens. And SK is still AFK in their base. They just went AFK for 10-15 minutes because they have a comp that can just clean. And if Fnatic ever tries to dive them 5 versus 5 with a pick composition, they're not going to do that well. So Fnatic didn't want to risk that, and that resulted in a very slow game.
A slow mid-game indeed, and Youngbuck, if you were playing that Trundle, we did see that when he went head-to-head with Lee Sin, it did work out fine, and even if you had teleport, there was just nothing you're able to do if you're caught inside your own base. Is there anything you can do?
Well, Trundle is pretty good against Lee Sin, so I actually hope that Fnatic either bans the Trundle, because I think that it's a very comfort pick for Freddy, or they leave it open and pick a heavy counter into it like Vladimir.
Okay, when we're going to the next game, then you said that Fnatic's comp, it worked in this case because they got pretty far ahead in the early game, but it won't necessarily work next. What do you feel that SK can pick or can ban that they can't do this again?
I'm not sure. It depends on the Fnatic players. Like, they all have very high versatility in the champion pools. Like, they can pretty much play every champion in their role, so it depends on what kind of composition they want to go for.
Yeah, because yesterday we saw versus Roccat that SK made adjustments immediately. They banned out 2 champions that Roccat was very good at. Do you think you can do the same versus Fnatic? You can just target 3 bans now on this game, or is Fnatic a team that you can't just do that against?
Fnatic has too big of champion pools on all their lanes, and SK is now thinking, what are we going to give them and what are we getting in return? They do have the last spend, so they can pretty much predict what Fnatic is going to first pick and what they want to get in return. So maybe the champion select for SK might be stronger, they might have a stronger level 1 as well.
Froggen, who do you call it for game 2?
I would say Fnatic.
Fnatic, Youngbuck.
Fnatic.
All right. Thank you very much, guys. We're going to go over to you guys at home because today, of course, we asked you on Twitter to tweet at LowEsports which European LCS player had the biggest influence on your own playstyle this split and why. And here's what you had to say. The first one is from @SugarD's. Biggest influence on me has to be amazing. To this day, I still can't get that insect fake to kick in high priority targets. You play with amazing. You know how good he is.
Yeah, having his Lee Sin on the team is just so great. You feel so free in your lanes. He pushes pressure everywhere, and he makes plays when it matters.
Absolutely does. Second one is from @AdamP1998. Rekkles, he taught me how playing safe and farming it up can let you carry games as much as kills can. And well, we actually didn't see that big of an influence here now because they didn't need to, but we know how good of a player Rekkles is.
Yeah, Rekkles is extremely good. He can play pretty much all the champions, and he knows how to play the different champions. And his mechanics in teamfights are pretty much spot on. There's not a lot you can criticize about him, so I think he's like probably the most solid AD carry right now.
The last one is from @OwenNinja. Probably Vander, the closest thing to Madlife you'll see outside of Korea influence my Thresh play. That are hard words. Do you think he's the same level as Madlife as we have here in Europe?
So I've played with Madlife multiple times. Both with and against him, and he kind of plays the same style because he's Morgana binding and his fresh hooks. He is really good at knowing when he needs to throw them, and usually if he misses a fresh hook or Morgana binding, it's because it's more like a zoning tool then that forces them into the direction Vander walks them to walk into his team. And that's like either you get hit or you are getting zoned into his own team, so you pretty much have to flash it no matter what. And Madlife is doing the exact same thing, so it's a bit like Madlife's style, but probably not as good as him.
Probably not as good, but still getting compared to him, not bad. Thank you guys for those, and remember, you can keep the conversation live on Twitter throughout this championship series by using that hashtag LCS. Now we'll take a brief break from the action, but stay close because we'll be right back with the second game between Fnatic and SK Gaming where anything can still happen. And remember, the LCS playoff action continues Friday in North America, and here's a closer look at what to expect from the teams on the other side of the pond.
Playoffs is everything.
Here comes the ulti. Can he find anything? With a playland, will he find Double? There he goes. Has GA though. Now great for Double. In comes Balls. What's he gonna find? Double over the wall.
If we win playoffs, we win the season.
Cop very low on mana, but has that red buff. They could get double lift on this. Tries to turn the fight around. Gets the hook from Afro, but it's not enough. And they bring in the quadra kill for Cop.
Anything can happen at playoffs. Playoffs are ultimately going to be the games that everybody remembers.
He's got the trifecta of items, and now he's dead! That's all it takes. God. Shifter finds the kill over the wall.
We're just like really close. We're just not quite there yet.
Special flash is over. Dyrus makes it in with Dragon's Descent. He's able to get one, but they turn it down. Great triple kill from Wild Turtle.
We're really hoping that we win this.
He looks for Cop. Tibbers is there. Golden Glue QW Quadra. Only Bunny Fufu alive.